Notre Dame's unofficial visit list for the USC game is absolutely crazy.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Brian Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst, and we're going to be talking live right here on this channel about Notre Dame's unofficial visitor list, mostly the uncommitted kids. They do have several big-time players already pitched to the Irish by Freeman and his staff. We're going to discuss some of them as well, but most importantly, we're just kind of go through the list. I have a few notes before I pull up the film that I want to go over, just a reminder for some people and just an overview, like where Notre Dame was, where they are. Don't forget what you already have, since it's still fairly new with the Freeman era. This is year 4. I think this program, recruiting-wise, has taken a massive step forward. Nothing against the last staff, but it's really about the head coach. Brian Kelly's not a recruiter by trade. Marcus Freeman does an elite job. Not a good. Marcus Freeman does an elite job of selling himself, his family, and then Notre Dame, and then the staff as well. It's all encompassing. That's why Notre Dame is in this position. So with that in mind, I'm going to go over some quarterbacks here in just a minute, and I'll talk about Teddy Gerard as well, the class of 27 kid at North Cobb High School. I went and saw him last weekend, and I was with his family in the stands. They are so far ahead at quarterback now. Think back to, 21 and 22 for Notre Dame, like the quarterback depth chart. That's just one barometer. Where Notre Dame was compared to where they are now is insane. And they've got this list that I'm looking at. I've got 4 guys up here on my gazillion tabs on my computer that I have open. Any of them that signed with Notre Dame, they're all class of 28 guys, would be better than any of the prospects. It's just ridiculous. They're years ahead of what Notre Dame used to be, just with the current class they were going in trying to get a senior. It's insane. So good for Notre Dame and good for Marcus Freeman, because now they're recruiting like a SEC program or Ohio State or Texas, whatever you want to say, in terms of not just getting the kids in the senior class. They're working years ahead. If you do not do that in today's world, you're done. You're absolutely done. So here in just a second, I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through a bunch of these. You have to bear with me as I flip around on some of these, but there are a gazillion kids that Notre Dame's recruiting coming in this weekend, but I don't think there's anybody more exciting to discuss than Kemon Spell. If you don't know much about him, here's the gist of the Kemon Spell deal. He's a kid that is not only a special athlete, but Kemon, he's not the tallest guy. You could make him a strong safety right now. He could be the number 1 strong safety. But when we turn on the film, and I've got it queued up, that is a little bit different in terms of what I've seen. He has some Emmitt Smith vibes in terms of his ability after contact. Emmitt, I thought, was as good a running back that I ever saw. After he got hit, still churning out yards. Kemon is low to the ground. They're almost identical in size, and he just plays football after contact better than about anybody you're going to see. So without further ado, let's get started and just kind of watch along here. Kemon is a lot of fun. He's in his offense at McKeesport, which is just outside of Pittsburgh. He's the up back. He's the guy that they just use in the option attack, and he dominates after contact on almost all of these plays. And they've also added in like this formation here where they do some split back, but it's the same principle. He's not burner fast, kind of like Emmitt Smith was, but he's fast enough. In the first 10 yards, he's as good as anybody you're ever going to see from down to down. You won't see any highlight here of Kemon where he gets hit and then he just goes backwards. Balance is just absolutely elite. He just kind of finds the crease and gets into where he needs to over and over. That first guy right there struggles. Second, third guy have to help get him to the ground. It's the same thing over and over. It's always positive yardage. Penn State, when Jawan Sutter the current Notre Dame running back coach was with the Nittany Lions. I think that he'll end up with Notre Dame, but he could end up at Georgia or somewhere else. He's going to be with the Irish this weekend for the USC game. Hopefully he has a good time. But I kind of doubt anybody won't. USC, Notre Dame's a lot of fun. The only thing about this weekend, it sounds like it's very popular with the recruits, but that's just part of football. This run right here is pretty crazy. I forgot to count how many it was, but it's like 5 or 6 guys that made contact with him before he broke out of the pile. I love the fact that he's a really cocky kid. When you're a talent like that, you need to back it up. There's a moxie to him in terms of how he plays that I love. You can see he doesn't have true top end speed, but it's pretty darn fast. I think both Jadarian and Jeremiah coming out of high school were faster than him, but I don't know if they were as good at pure running backs in terms of after contact. He's playing against some pretty good players in that league, but overall, I just don't think there's anybody at the high school level who can handle much of what he does. And the scary part is Kemon's only a junior in high school right now. Keep that in mind. This is not a senior. This is a class of 2027 prospect. Here he is split out wide. I'm curious because he played in an option offense, how much he's played out wide, because they don't throw it much. But this is, by the way, it's a nice throw. The corner just got smoked on that. And when you're 10 yards behind, you're not going to catch a guy. Why would you punt to this kid? That is so stupid. I've said it once. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. Why would you kick to a 5-star recruit at the high school level? It is so dumb. Coaches get arrogant. Don't kick to the kid that's going to a major college to play running back. Look at the contact balance. It's just insane. Even guys that get him around the legs, he somehow squirms out of it. It's really amazing. It really is. With that being stated, I mean, there's only so much that you can really say about him before he gets to the college level, because Kemon is dominating so much. It's just gross. Let's see here. I'll check the chat, see if anybody's got any comments about it. Let's see. Oh, this is a good point here. Coleman Smith says, thanks to North Carolina being an absolute dumpster fire. And it is. Hopefully the second back is Amir Brown. I'm going to talk about Brown in just a second. He is a great prospect. But to be honest with you, I mean, he's probably one of the more undervalued guys. I saw Amir at the Future 50 event in Bradenton. He was tremendous. I thought he was the best running back there. Now, Spell didn't go to that event. If I remember correctly, he did not go, but Brown was awesome. He's not really a second back. He would be a number one. Texas really wanted him. Notre Dame really wanted him. Clemson really wanted him. What does that tell you? Those are not schools that take scraps at the running back position, obviously. So just keep that in mind. But it's a really interesting scenario. Let's see here. Really hope he values relationship with Coach Sider over Georgia's money. Notre Dame's going to have to pay him too. Let me get this out there. Notre Dame's not going to win just on we're Notre Dame, Golden Dome, education, all that. If you're not paying, you're not getting. Those days are over. I may have missed it because I just joined. Who would you say is a comparable for him, Brian? You talking about Kemon? If you're talking about Kemon, I think it's Emmitt Smith in terms of style. mean, there's only one Emmitt Smith, but that's the style that Kemon reminds me the most of. Love seeing him run through contact instead of avoiding it. 100%. 100%. He's got a mix of Love and Price. I don't know if those guys run quite as low to the ground. Kemon's got some incredible flexibility. Let's see. Love, yeah, I'm sure Love's making some cash. He's got to be making $1 million, I'd imagine. Let's see. It's going to be tough to pull both of them. That might be one of the reasons that Notre Dame brought both Kemon and Amir in. They're both elite backs that can pretty much pick their schools. I don't know how many backs they're going to take, but it probably would be hard to sign both, I would imagine. Emmitt Smith is high praise. I just like the running style. Very few people that are great running backs in high school put up numbers outside of you make the first guy miss and then you split the safeties because you're faster than everybody. Kemon's pretty fast, but he's not like Love in high school. It was gross. He played against competition that was solid, but it was St. Louis private school. And some of those guys, they just couldn't run with him. He said, I used to run to the outside because they couldn't catch me. Kemon's running over some guys, and he's got pretty good speed. He's more of a balanced guy. Emmitt wasn't ever 4.3. He might have been 4.5, 4.45, but who had better balance after contact than Emmitt? Anybody? Maybe Marcus Allen, you could say, possibly. Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. But still, it's pretty interesting. For those that don't know, Kemon plays in the public school league in the greater Pittsburgh area. It's pretty good, but some of the schools you go against, it's up and down. And it's like everywhere else, good players are starting to basically form all-star teams, and they transfer all to the same school because they all want to win. So it's not as balanced as it used to be. It's harder to evaluate. Derrick Henry's unique because he's so big. Like Derrick is 250, if not bigger. I don't know how you can compare him to anybody. He's the most unique running back of all time. Emmitt played at like 205, 208. And that's where Kemon is. They're very similar in size too. Derrick doesn't have a comparison. There's never been a back as big as him that played as long as he did. You could argue that Derrick is now the greatest running back of all time if you wanted. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But to finish out the stats, in which I'm sure he's trying to break Emmitt's record, and he could, it would be neat because it seems like he's a really good guy. But nonetheless. All right, next, I have somebody that everybody's probably going to be very, very interested in. And he's, from what I've been told, he's number one on Georgia's board, which puts things in perspective. He might be number one overall on Notre Dame's board too. I do not know, but he is one heck of a player, and that is DJ Jacobs. His dad played at Georgia, David Jacobs. He was a defensive lineman. I think I interviewed him way back in the day. I could be wrong, but he's one heck of a player. And the way this film works, they play it a couple of times, and then they'll show it from a vertical angle. So I might occasionally skip through a little bit of this. But you can see he's got pretty good bend. That kid he's going against has no chance. For the record, DJ's playing on the north side of Atlanta. Blessed Trinity Catholic is probably the best private school. There are a handful in Atlanta right now, but it's in the conversation. But it's not like 7A. So their schedule is random. They'll play some bigger schools, some that are their size. But just to put it bluntly, DJ has always been one of the bigger kids. And I don't think that he's a guy that remotely has many challenges. He just doesn't. He's too athletic. He's too fast. And he's an intelligent player. He mixes things up. If you don't, I don't know what they're doing there on that play. Obviously, DJ is just taking off and nobody's hitting him. So some of these highlight reels are not necessarily great barometers for what would transpire. And that's why I hope DJ, I don't know if he's going to play for a 5-on-5 team. And that's the new thing. It's just they wear like the padded helmets up top. They're not true helmets. And they're just basically in football uniforms without pads. And it's just 5 guys lined up O-line, 5 D-line. You go one-on-one, 2 reps, then you go to the next set, down the line, center, guard, tackle, etc. I think it would be a lot of fun to see DJ go against guys that are 280 and above on every rep to see what he could do. But on this film, I mean, it's kind of a joke, to be honest. There's nobody that can handle DJ. And I'm being very, very, very kind. There's just not, but it is what it is. Most important thing to watch here is just how DJ bends and his overall athleticism. His ability to burst is pretty incredible. Ironically, just as a backstory, he grew up with Teddy Gerard. They knew each other from the time they were little, and Teddy is Notre Dame's 2027 quarterback commit. They're both Northside Atlanta guys. Teddy's dad, Jerry, still communicates with the Jacobs family, etc., quite a bit. So Notre Dame's involved. From what I understand, he's taken 2 visits to Miami. He's taken a visit to UGA and one to A&M. This will be a second one this season to Notre Dame. I was told Clemson's not really an option. I mean, I don't know if that's accurate, but I was surprised he hasn't visited there. Clemson does a tremendous job of recruiting the greater Atlanta area and just D linemen in general in the state of Georgia. It's grotesque. But for a ranking, I've got his numbers here. Might as well just go ahead and pull it up since I've got DJ on the screen. DJ is the consensus number 10 player from all the composite rankings. I might rank him number 1 when I do my own rankings because I look at it from an on-field and off-field perspective plus premium position. My top 5 will all be quarterback, offensive tackle. If you're a special receiver, maybe Monchin Sales, a kid from Lawrence North in Indianapolis, that's a possibility. Kids like that. So I think they're all very, very important, but we'll see. Corner is another one that you have to look at and kind of put it into perspective too. So there are a lot of really good players in the 27 class. I think it's very good, but not many that are better than DJ Jacobs. Now that I went through the top 2 guys that I think Notre Dame's really after in the 27 class that are getting a lot of hype, Monchin Sales is going to be on campus several times. I think he would be the other. We'll get to him in a little bit. I'm just going to go through quarterback. I'll do Amir Brown a little bit. Then I'll go through receiver, tight end, Jackson Dollar, etc. I've got a whole bunch of these. Then we'll talk a little bit of Notre Dame recruiting, and then at the end, I will go over just some thoughts on the Notre Dame USC game because I think that's going to be a heck of a game. The rain, unfortunately, is probably going to be a concern, but it is what it is. So this first guy that I'm going to show is a class of 28 quarterback. If I remember correctly, it's the same high school that one Jimmy Clausen went to, Oaks Christian, north side of Los Angeles, private school. He was at Notre Dame's camp. I don't know if he's a kid that is really, really interested in Notre Dame or if he doesn't know yet, but he's fairly mobile. He reminds me of Carr in his play style. He makes enough movement behind the line of scrimmage to gain a little extra time for the receivers. And he can make some of those weird throws off platform that seemingly everybody tries to make. But again, his name is Trey Towns. He's really, really talented. I like the way he uses different trajectories to get the ball over the linebackers. And he's got a pretty consistent motion. Oaks Christian's had some players over the years for sure. I don't know if there's anybody else that Notre Dame is really trying to get out of California in the quarterback ranks, but there always seems to be 1 or 2 that are possibilities. That state does such a good job with quarterbacks. It's really incredible. Has for my entire life. Of course, Notre Dame's had a few of them themselves. Berline, Clausen being a couple of them. For those of you who remember Thomas Krug, he was in the same class with Ron Paulus. Look at him dip down and throw sidearm. Doesn't seem to bother him. Everything is very, very fluid and seemingly all but effortless. Right there was a really nice play. He can change how fast his delivery is and still be accurate. That's pretty unusual for a veteran, let alone a kid. Remember this film right here? This is a kid that's only going into his sophomore year. So this is pretty impressive. About another 50 seconds here on Trey. I don't know as much about his recruitment yet, but he's so early in it. I mean, he's, for what it's worth, he's top 200 recruit as a freshman, 1,996 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So 63%, you know, he was 167 to 265. They let him throw it around as a freshman, but he's got Florida, Georgia, Arizona State, Arkansas, Indiana, Ohio State, Penn State, Tennessee, Washington. I mean, Jed Fish is a really good quarterback coach guy at Washington. Those are some pretty good signs that he can throw it. I would imagine Notre Dame is going to be picky, kind of like they were with the 27 class, but he went to their camp already once. He's coming back for a visit. He's got to be on the short list for Notre Dame. So really good prospect. I don't know if Trey is a guy that is going to end up at Notre Dame, but he's got to be somebody they've talked to quite a bit about it, or it just wouldn't happen. He wouldn't be going all the way from the Los Angeles area to South Bend just for the heck of it. This next kid I like just as much, if not more. He doesn't have as much fanfare, and I'm probably going to mispronounce his last name. First name is Lucas. Last name is Prock. Prock, I believe it is, or just K. No, CK. He goes to the Hun School, which is in Princeton, New Jersey. I don't know if he's a kid that's quote unquote all that great in terms of getting out and getting exposure, but man, he can throw it. He's so accurate. Again, kind of like Towns, he moves around to give himself a little more opportunity to throw the football, but he's just very accurate. I thought he was as much, if not even more accurate than Towns. You can tell he's been coached. He does a good job of squaring his shoulders, throwing on the run, and some of the throws he makes on the sideline. There's one here in a little bit. Might be this play. Back of the end zone that's just ridiculous. Yeah, it's this one right here. Watch where the receiver catches the football. Can't throw it any better than that. That's an NFL throw. Last season, these are his numbers. I mean, it's ridiculous. 150 of 206, 72.8%, 3,000 yards exactly, 33 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The 2 interceptions in particular catches my attention. Look at that over-the-top throw. I love his delivery. That means he's understanding scheme a little better, and they're probably a pretty good team. I'm sure he's got some players around him, but he doesn't put the ball in harm's way despite throwing for 3,000 yards. That is a very good sign. Most young quarterbacks suck at getting overzealous, and then they just don't have a drive all the way down to the 12-yard line, and they'll throw it right to a linebacker or a safety. Sometimes you got to throw the ball away. As the saying goes, live to play another down. Watch his over-the-top delivery, though. Like, it's ridiculous. I don't know exactly what level of competition this is. I'm not as familiar with Jersey. I've never even been out there before, but over and over again, you see the same principles with his fundamentals. Just enough mobility to really be annoying. And again, look at the throws on the sideline. He gives his guy a chance, and it's out of harm's way. This is another class of 28 kids, so all these quarterbacks are 28, by the way. On time, right spot. This film's 10 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll give it 1 or 2 more plays here. But he is really, really good. He's got decent mobility. Avoids the rush, gets the ball out. And if you don't get pressure on him like that, you've got a problem. This one will be the last play for Mr. Lucas. Man, he's good. Okay. So this just gives you an idea again. As I said at the beginning, Freeman selling himself, his family, the Notre Dame program, the institution itself. You don't get this many quarterbacks on campus anywhere, let alone one that hasn't been exactly that good at quarterback without extra effort. Notre Dame's putting themselves in a good spot that they've earned. And that's, good for them, because a lot of people, quite honestly, would take it for granted. And that is not a good thing. So will they find a way, for lack of a better phrase, to get one of these kids committed early in the process? I would imagine Notre Dame will probably do it like they did last year, have kids come in again next summer. I don't know. But if you've got this many kids competing and you're winning at a high level, you've probably got more leeway. So that's a possibility. But this next kid, Caden Kraft, let's see, he's out of the Charlotte area, North Charlotte. He plays at Lake Norman. He's a little taller, 6'4", 200 pounds. He's got some athleticism, to say the least. Really good prospect. I don't think you're going to find many guys that are better than him at this stage, but maybe we just saw one in Lucas. But this kid's really good too, and it kind of shows you what they're looking for, because many of these kids are very similar. They extend the play, but they're not runners primarily, at least not in my opinion. So that's a very important aspect of it. Let's see what we got here for Mr. Kraft. Why is it freezing on me? I may have too many tabs open for this thing. That might be what's going on. There we go. He is very, very talented player. Here are his stats for this year, and it's significant because, my computer's starting to, I've had too many tabs open. His stats this year are pretty impressive. 78 to 129. This is just obviously partial season. 60.5%, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. Some of the offers for Kraft: Auburn, Florida State, North Carolina State, Virginia Tech, North Carolina. So he's just starting to get into that. And he's from the greater Charlotte area, which is pretty good football. My computer's getting hammered here. I've used up too many resources. But he's another kid. He's on time. He's consistent. He throws the football where he needs to. It's not anything that's difficult per se that he's doing in terms of just athletically. He'll make one guy miss or sidestep somebody and then deliver the football. He's doing everything he can not to get hit and get the ball out to his athletes. That's kind of the name of the game now in football. I get the whole dual threat thing, but look at Florida State, like Tommy Castellanos last week. I was watching that game. He got drilled down by the goal line and gets up limping. You just can't having your quarterback get smoked as a primary runner has its downsides. CJ takes off once in a while for the Irish too, but this run right here was a little surprise. I didn't realize he was that fast, but for the most part, he just makes one guy miss, then gets the ball off. They occasionally run him, but that's not his forte. One more play here, then we'll go on to the next guy. Yeah, breezing like crazy. He's pretty good. He is pretty darn good. All right, this next kid is actually from Indiana, south side of Indianapolis. It's an area not that far from where I grew up. And it's pretty rare. Indiana is not known as a quarterback state. It's gotten better. It would be kind of cool for the Irish, and I have no idea. This kid's name's Oscar Sloan. He plays at Center Grove. It would be really cool if Notre Dame could get an Indiana quarterback. Rick Meyer was from Goshen. They haven't had many guys from the Indiana area that they could recruit and really, really want. Center Grove's been a really good program my whole life. They've run a lot of option and stuff. They've obviously changed based on having this kid, but they've always been a physical power football team, kind of a Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan kind of team. But if you got a quarterback like this, then you can definitely open it up. Look at that throw. Back of the end zone. I don't know if I like him as much as Towns or Lucas, but he's at least in the conversation. And these kids are sophomores. Let's see where they are by the end of the year. Purdue, Maryland, and Cincinnati are some of his offers so far this year. 87 and 132, 65.9%, 1,075 yards, 9 TDs, 3 interceptions. You can throw the deep ball. In the league that he's playing in and some of the competition, Indiana's not elite high school football, but Center Grove plays the vast majority of them during the regular season and playoffs. This is a very big school on the south side of Indianapolis, so he's going to see more competition than a lot of the other kids. This is a great angle right here. He sees an opportunity, takes it. His feet aren't quite as settled as a couple of the other guys, but it's close. And he's another guy that has a natural, over-the-top delivery. He reminds me a little bit like what you would see from Louisville and Jeff Brom. This is a Jeff Brom kind of quarterback. Nothing wrong with that. Consistently on time, accurate, change in arm motion. Again, look at that throw. Sidearm. Another sidearm throw right on the money. Gives this guy a chance to run after the play. Ooh, nice move. Holy cow, that kid's a pretty good player. So the 428 kids, there's another sidearm throw. The 428 kids that Notre Dame has coming in that I've got here today, and there are a couple other kids too. Like this is just an example. Oh, let's end it on that one. That's about as good as it's going to get. It's just an example of how much talent Notre Dame is now assembling at the running back position, receiver, and all that. That's important. But if you don't have quarterback, you've got no chance, man. You got no chance. You really don't. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but look at the top, well, let's say top 15 teams in college football. I'm going to do Amir Brown here next. But look at the top 15 schools. You're not going to win once you get into the playoff without somebody that can beat you with passing the football. And I'm not saying that Tommy Frazier in Nebraska couldn't be successful in today's era, but Tommy would have had to have thrown a little more probably. That was a pretty special Nebraska team in 95. But still, you have to be able to hit some money shots where it's a sideline throw on 3rd and 7. You don't have to be as accurate as Ty Simpson or CJ Carr, but you just got to be in that realm if you're going to advance. Watching the kids today, again, these are all 28 in terms of what year they graduate high school. Notre Dame's in a pretty good spot. Amir Brown is up next, and this kid is awesome to watch. I had a chance to see him live. I don't know if Amir is a guy that has any chance to get the attention he deserves being in North Carolina because there aren't a ton of scouts there, but man, he can play. So let's watch Mr. Brown a little bit here. The best attribute for him when I saw him at Future 50 back in late June, he catches the ball like a wide receiver. But he's another one of those running backs that's powerful, low to the ground, and does well after contact. He's a little bit like Kemon in that regard. This is another class of 2027 prospect. What we got here? This is just some of the offers for Amir. Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas, North Carolina, Florida State, Miami, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Michigan. Junior stats, 102 carries, 802 yards, 11 touchdowns. So, yeah, he was pretty good. He plays at Rollsville, which is the Raleigh, North Carolina area. There he is catching a pass. He's just very consistent in everything he does, and he's very good after contact. Again, that's so important. Look at that run. That's awesome. Really, really quick. Nice find by the quarterback there. Good cut. Power. His lower body, you could tell when I met him, like it was pretty easy to see he's a powerful guy. And it kind of looks like he's bored with high school, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say elite speed, but he's pretty fast. And most importantly, he finds a way to make it through the trash that first 5 yards. And then that, again, like he catches the football like a wide receiver. This is the same thing we saw at the Under Armour event, Future 50, that most of us go to every year. Oh, what power. We'll watch one more rep here, then we'll watch some Kemon Spell, the wide receiver out of Lawrence North in Indianapolis. Look at that. Pretty impressive. All right, let's watch Mr. Sales. This is arguably the top wide receiver. You know, it depends on who you want to ask. As far as big-bodied receivers in the next class, yeah, it's pretty good. Lawrence North is on the northeast side of Indianapolis, and it's always been good at basketball. Greg Oden, Eric Montross, a whole bunch of guys that come out of there. But football hasn't been their forte. They're usually just so-so at football. I imagine since he's at that school. Wait a minute. Is this Wayne? Who am I playing here? No, that's him. Yeah, that's Machin. That's against Ben Davis. He's maybe a kid that thought he was going to be a hooper. Most kids that are good athletes go to Lawrence North, play basketball. Or he just lives right down the street from the school. I don't know him. But he is really twitchy for a 6'4.5" kid. He measured in at Rivals 5-star, 6'4.5", 210 pounds, and his hands were over 10 inches. Like he's got hands like an offensive lineman. He's built different than just about anybody else. Munchin, as you might expect, like his offer list is just dumb. After I go through and we'll watch a few more guys on film. I'll go back through the list a little bit, talk about them from recruiting, then we'll hit the Notre Dame USC game. Nice adjustment by the quarterback there, giving Sales a chance. Man, he's aggressive when he goes after the ball. Look how much cushion they're giving. It's like 8 yards off the line, and he's still running by the guy. Man. So this is Ben Davis. I imagine that's Mark Zachary's going against there. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody else, but it's just too big. Keep in mind, he's big or bigger than most of the receivers in the NFL. And this film right here is of him in his sophomore season. Oh, nice. He's a physical specimen. Good block right here. Man. That's pretty impressive. All right, that's enough to say. You get the picture. Like, that's just ridiculous. Then Jameer Brown. This is an interesting story. He's one of the fastest kids I've ever scouted. He's out of the same high school that Marcus Freeman actually went to, the greater Dayton area. Goes to Wayne. I can't imagine he's going to flip, but you never know. For the record, he's got an Ohio State tattoo on his arm, so that kind of leads me to believe that he's going to Ohio State. It's even colored in red, but he is insanely fast. He runs by everybody. Once he gets in an open space situation, you're in deep trouble. It's just not that competitive. Look at that. Holy cow. Look at the cushion that he gets. Reverse. Finds the crease, and he's gone. That is what you call terrible coverage, and then you're going to get smoked on top of it because you can't run with it. Everything you did on that play after the catch is pretty much wrong, and he scored because he's so fast. Going back across the field like that is dangerous. One more play here for Brown. But, I mean, this is just the ultimate flanker home run threat. It's straightforward what he's trying to do, and just guys can't run with it. They flat out cannot run with it. So it's pretty incredible what he's capable of. We'll get into some D linemen here in just a second. But the guy I'm going to show next, he's listed as a tight end. But I think he's really a receiver. He's this big, growing into that flex position. Jackson Dollar, he's a kid that's from another kid from the greater Charlotte area. I believe he's on the north side. And he's just a very agile 6'5" kid that not many teams can. At the high school level, this is comical. I mean, even here, they just put him out wide, and he avoids the DB. He's got pretty good speed. I think this is Notre Dame's guy for the next class. He's been to Notre Dame before. Maybe he's not, but I think this is the guy they would probably take. I don't know. It's debatable. Seneca Driver is another guy. That's Tony Driver's nephew. If I remember correctly. He's the running back who played at Notre Dame. Then he moved to safety from 97 to 2000. This is where a guy like Dollar is just ridiculously hard. He's 6'5". How many DBs are going to handle him in the red zone? Yeah, he's too big. He's actually pretty agile after the catch. Whether or not he can be a consistent blocker and all that, I don't know. But right now, he's a receiver being labeled as a flex tight end. That's how I see Jackson Dollar. One more play here. All right, that's the gist of Jackson Dollar. He's a great player. I don't know who the number 2 is for Jackson. That's debatable. But just kind of looking at the list, I mean, he's got everybody. Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Texas. Like, he's another one of those kids. Again, he's north side of Charlotte. He plays at East Lincoln in Denver, North Carolina, next to the lake. I mean, he can do whatever. The Seneca Driver kid, I wrote down his list too. It's crazy. He's a kid at Boyle County in Danville, Kentucky, 6'7", 235. He's a little bigger. But Kentucky, Louisville, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Texas, Texas A&M, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Like, his list is grotesque too. So they're in a good spot. There's a couple other guys. They're in on like 4 or 5 tight ends if they're in the top 3. You can do pretty much whatever you want at that point. Just for fun, I already showed DJ Jacobs. There's another kid that I want to talk about. Darian Prescott. Let me see if I can find his film real quick. This is make sure I spell his name right. He is just shot out of a cannon. I may have to find it via Google, but just absolutely crazy athletic. And he's another kid that's class of 28. I don't know how kids are this athletic and this tall so quickly, but good grief. Have to watch the stupid ad here, but really good prospect. Really, really good prospect. This is the 6'5", 6'6" kid. Again, this is only a kid that's 15. I don't even know if he's got his driver's license yet, but I would take him right now. He's at Bolingbrook High School, which trivia for those of you that are older, which Notre Dame player from the early 90s came out of Bolingbrook and was a running back for the Irish. I don't think he ever reached his potential, but I always thought he was very, very good. I'll give you the answer to that here in a second, if anybody can answer it. But this is a really good player. Look how long he is in the legs, man. So on the right end here, shed, break down, make the tackle. Mr. Smith saying, yeah, I agree. I don't think that Jameer is going to flip, but that's who you were talking about. But nonetheless, he's a heck of a player. Look at the bend and the length. Man, this kid's got, after this season, 2 more years of high school. This is the epitome of the pure outside pass rusher. He kind of gives me Peter Boulware vibes. To be honest, I don't think there's much I would do with Darian other than just let him rush. I mean, I know some guys will go fire zone and you put your pass rusher into the flat every now and then, but I would rush the passer with him and just let it be what it is. Sometimes don't make it too complex. He's as good a pass rusher as there is in the country for the next couple of years, like right now. Look at the change of direction. Thank you very much, Archie. To be honest, a lot of these kids, there's not a lot of breakdown. They're just way better than everybody. And that's what it comes down to, by the way. But the film speaks for itself on this kid. Again, he's class of 28. He's got 2 more years of high school after this year. Can you imagine telling your kid, have fun tonight, and then you realize that kid's lining up in front of you. Yeah, good luck. That's one of his worst plays. A kid got you 3 yards. It's still a defensive stop. It's crazy. We'll go one more play here. And I'll play one more defensive lineman just because it's a kid that I like a lot. But let me see if I can find Marcus Bakatu real quick. This is a kid out of California that plays at Orange Lutheran. It's a good program. I've been around him a few times at a 7-on-7, or excuse me, a 5-on-5 event. And Marcus is as good a kid as you're going to find. And that's the good news. But like the length and everything, he's listed it on like 24/7 at 6'6". He is not. He's 6'7.5". He even told me this past spring, if he gets much taller, he's probably going to have to move the offensive line. But he was 6'7.5" in March and like 265 pounds, something like that. That was January. So it's been better part of a year. I would imagine he's got a chance to end up at offensive tackle, but it's whatever. And this is a top 5 prospect. Whether he ends up at strong side end, playing a little D tackle too, or moving to offensive tackle. Great attitude, plays at a really good program, and he's just an athlete that wants to be coached. And you just can't have enough of those kinds of guys. So it is what it is. Really long. He's got some width to him. I could see him being a strong side end in the NFL, like 290. That rare guy that can actually hold that weight. This is against Notre Dame, by the way, and I'm sure they got slaughtered. Notre Dame is one of the top 3 or 4 teams in the country. So on this play, he is the down end on the top side. That's what it looked like. Maybe he was about. I'm having a hard time really understanding this, but he's a great athlete. This isn't the best film for this, to be honest with you. Maybe he's the bottom guy. They don't even use the circles on this. This isn't the greatest film. Pretty strong move there. The Trinity League is insanely good. They're such good coach. Okay, this isn't the greatest film, but anyway, you get the gist. You get the gist of it. Let's talk a little bit before I go into the Notre Dame USC stuff. Just some big box recruiting. I got a few more notes about some of the kids and kind of going through it. There are a few guys that I think are really, really important for Notre Dame to make sure they get on campus as many times as possible. And as the saying goes, let the chips fall where they may. Here we go. I just talked about the Prescott kid from Bolingbrook, Marcus Bakatu from Orange Lutheran. Those are a couple of defensive linemen. He's got a younger brother, Alex, that's class of 29. I think Notre Dame's like his only offer from what they said on 24/7. I don't know if that's accurate, but he's another kid. He's like 215. Asher Giotto, he's a kid at the Bowl School. He's supposed to be there. That's a school in Jacksonville, elite boarding school, really good football program for my entire life. The only offers he does not have right now are like Texas, Oregon, USC. As a kid going into his sophomore year, Asher had already had that. I've seen him at Under Armour, etc. He's got everybody. That's somebody to talk about. Tavon Epps, he's from Tustin, California. They got a couple other players. Tavon is committed to Texas. He's originally from the state of Texas, but he's coming in for a visit. USC, Notre Dame, Texas, Bama, Georgia, Miami, Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State. Pretty impressive list. He's 6'4", 220. He's a guy that I think could grow into an end. I'm sure all those schools would give him that option. I talked about Seneca Driver a little bit. Oh, yeah, here's one. Running back. They've got him coming in. It's insane what Sider is doing. Noah Roberts, he is shot out of a cannon. He's an Arizona kid. And when I say speed, I mean really, really good speed. 100, 200 meter. He's sub 10.8. He does all that. But Bama, UCLA, USC, Arizona State, Arizona, Texas, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Oregon, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, Miami, Florida State, Illinois, or Indiana. Like, he has almost every offer already. He's the number 87 player in the composite for the class of 2027. I talked about Brown. And then in the class of 27, Zayden Jernigan. He's from Louisville, Mississippi. He's a little bit like Kemon Spell. He's another running back. His film was gross. 5'10", 200 pounds, power back. He had 1,798 yards as a freshman, 27 touchdowns. He might be the best running back in the state of Mississippi. And there's another kid who's committed to Ole Miss in Mississippi this year that I think is one of the top 5 to 8 running backs in the country. This kid's 2 years younger than him. He might be better. He's on campus this weekend as well. He's ranked number 27 in the composite. And I didn't even pull up all the stuff in regards to the DBs, but I do want to just mention some of them and kind of go over some of it from the list that Notre Dame has this weekend. It's for just as a reminder, before I go over the quote unquote list of players that are 27 and whatnot that are just incredibly talented that are coming in, but they've got, let's see, I got to find the list for the 26 kids. Okay. Smith, Pouncey, Adams, Reddish, and O'Brien, all 5 DBs that are committed are going to be on campus. The only question I have is which guy ends up playing nickel out of that, because you've got so much versatility. That's as good a DB group as anybody has for the class of 26 headed to Notre Dame. For 27, I've seen Xavier Hassan. He's out of Raleigh, North Carolina, goes to Cardinal Gibbons. He's pretty good. He might be able to play nickel, but he's probably a corner. I haven't seen Duvet Williams. He's a kid out of Cali that they're after. I want to say he's the kid from, is he Bosco? He's from one of those schools. I think it's Bosco. Ace Alston, he's from Anderson. He's a really good player out of Cincinnati, good prospect. Larry Moon's a kid that I know personally. He's from the Pittsburgh area, but he's at IMG, elite corner. He could play free safety. He could play nickel. And then Khalil Terry, I'm not sure where he's from off the top of my head, but he's another kid that's supposed to be really good. Notre Dame at DB, like the last couple classes have been really, really good. But if you look at even, let's just say they got 3 kids in 27 in the secondary. I don't even care which spots. Anything you add to the 5-man class that they have now, and they've got Sieg, whatever that kid is from PA, was committed to Penn State, decommitted. He's either visiting this weekend or coming up for another, I don't remember when, but he's going to come in for a visit at some point. Maybe you take a kid like that, but you don't need to take anybody. When you're at that point where you don't have to, you're in a pretty good spot. 6'7" at POS and probably 15 to 16 and not playing basketball. Talking about Seneca. Yeah, he's a really, really good player, man. I'd imagine he's had to have been asked to play hoops. That's when you tell coach you pulled a hammy and get off the bus. There's truth in that. All right, I want to shift gears here and just talk for a few minutes about the Notre Dame USC game because I think it's a blast. It's one of my favorite games of the year, not just because I followed Notre Dame growing up, but I just like the whole thing with got a Midwest school, it's different culture out in Los Angeles. All of that I think is great. And if the rivalry comes to an end, it's a shame, but it is what it is. I'm not going to dive down that rabbit hole. Here are the things that I think are important. Number one, injuries. Both teams got a lot of guys banged up. Starting center for both teams isn't playing. However, the starting center for USC has 25 starts at Syracuse before he transferred to the Trojans. He took the paycheck, got bought off the roster. It's obvious what happened. He's pretty good. How will whatever the kid's name is for Notre Dame play? We don't know. That's really important, especially because of the following. There's a chance of rain in this game. A really good chance. Second half, snaps. Just going to throw that out there now. One or both could have a bad snap that costs them the game. I hate that, but fumbles are fumbles. Just something to be aware of. Secondarily, I think the quarterbacks will more or less, for whatever it's worth, cancel each other out. I think they're 2 of the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in college football. So it'll come down to trench play, turnovers, and the word that no coach likes to hear in a close game, special teams. Again, if it's a wet ball and it's raining, who's the punt returner that misses? Who's the punter that gets the snap right to him and drops it? Notre Dame's special teams are really good, but they could be terrible in this game just because of the wet ball. Who knows? It's supposed to be a chance of rain in this game, but there's also going to be wind. So that's something else for the punt returners to think about, and quite honestly, the kickoff returners. Even if you fall on it, if you fall on your own 8-yard line, that's still not a good starting point. Special teams will be important. And then you just get into the matchups. I heard somebody say the other day on the Cover 3 podcast, it's obvious that USC has a better wide receiver group. I actually disagree. I think Notre Dame's is better, and here's why. It's more balanced, and even though Greathouse is banged up, it's healthier. Jacoby Lane has been banged up for multiple weeks. Mark Holkin is a guy that covers USC on the On3 site. He works on the Locked On Podcast Network and runs the USC site. And they haven't been playing Lane a ton. When he's not on the field, you can do more things to try to take away Mekhi Lemon and make it more difficult for him. I think he's the best proven receiver in the country. And what I mean by that is he's got over 40 catches. He's getting the ball and they keep finding ways to get it to him. You're going to have to find a way to do better than what you did last year for sure. And if he's in the slot, I don't know if that's going to work out well for Notre Dame. I heard somebody say, hey, put Leonard Moore on him. Playing slot corner is not something you just jump in and do it well. It is totally different in terms of spatial awareness and all the different things they do in the screen game. And there may not be a better screen coach in the country than Lincoln Riley. So they better think real hard about putting Leonard Moore on him unless they're going to give him some help, which sounds weird, but Leonard Moore outside is not Leonard Moore inside until proven otherwise. Highly doubt he's going to be as effective, and that's Mekhi's primary spot. That's something to watch. How does Notre Dame play that? And because of the unfortunate injury to Gabriel Rubio, number 97 for the Irish, are they going to blitz a little more? He's definitively their best defensive tackle. It's not a great group. They got a lot of solid to good players. But Rubio was the one that could shed a block, shed a double team, and make a play at the line of scrimmage. Him not playing is a major blow to Notre Dame. And USC, I know, again, their center is out, but the guy that's going to be in there started for 25 games for the Cuse. They should be in a pretty good spot. They lost a couple running backs, but the kid, whatever his King something for USC last week, that kid's good. I watched a little bit of the Michigan game. I'm like, this kid can run. Good cutback, good speed, got vision. Notre Dame screws around up front. They'll give up 150 plus yards and lose. No doubt about it. So the run gap fits for Notre Dame, I'm curious about. On the other side, USC is very aggressive. They got the freshman that's the early enrollee from New Orleans who's very talented. But more importantly, they've got a little depth and they got some size. They got like Keyshawn Silver. They got transferred in. He was at Kentucky, I believe. They're going to be a difficult team to deal with. No doubt about it. Can Notre Dame run inside? Because their offensive line has underachieved. There's been a lot of consternation about Notre Dame's offensive line coach. I think it's warranted. They're not getting much push considering the guys behind them and how much talent the O-line has. They're not. I'm curious to see how well they do, especially in the first half. Again, there's expected to be rain. It might be more likely, this changes all the time in South Bend, I know, that it's second half rain. You need to score in the first half. If USC figures you out in the first half and then it starts pouring rain, either team that gets behind could be in trouble if the rain comes later in the game. First possession of the game for each team will be vital. And final point, this is the obvious one. Who just makes a special play? Is it Lemon? Is it Jadarian Price? Is it Eli Raridan? Whatever. That special catch and or run that defines the game because they win in a one-on-one circumstance. Not many teams have players like USC and Notre Dame do on offense. I don't know which guy it will be. And it could just be a 7-yard game, but they made 3 guys miss on a tunnel screen and should have been tackled for a 2-yard loss. I could see Mekhi Lemon doing that in a heartbeat. Moves to change, they go into 4-minute offense and they beat Notre Dame, or vice versa. Maybe it's Malachi Fields for Notre Dame catches a quick slant, breaks a tackle, and gets an extra 5 yards, gets a first down. That kind of play could very well determine not only who wins, but like who ices it. Because it's going to be about toughness. It's not going to be a fun game to play in if it's raining and it's windy. Nobody wants to play in that as a receiver, especially. But that's why I'm bringing them up. The ball's not going to come at you inconsistent. It's going to be a knuckleball almost, even if it's a spiral because of the wind and the rain. You're going to have to play really good football. You're going to see more drops. Who capitalizes catching the football? Tight ends, running backs, and receivers. I think the answer to that, probably the team that will win the football game. Thank you very much for checking out this live show. Had a lot of fun. I'm going to chop this up, and or I might just put the whole thing up just for fun. But we're going to have some fun with it. I love playing videos and kind of doing this stuff, but we're going to do a lot of these, and we've got a special thing coming up on the Locked On Network. We're going to have a subscriber program where I put up something every day that is for $15 a month, and it's going to be all my rankings and all that stuff will first go on there. Live shows and stuff will first go on there. There won't be any commercials like I did. I did this one on purpose. No commercials, all that stuff. That will be behind the paywall, but it's only $15 a month. So you can do with it whatever you want. I enjoy this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I enjoy it a lot more than I do just doing a regular show. I do the Locked On Seminole show as well, but the portal, meaning literally the transfer portal and recruiting, this is my bag. And I think it's the most fun by a million miles. And I could do it year round because there's always a team to talk about. Not just Notre Dame. It could be Syracuse. It could be UCLA. It could be Texas A&M. Everybody. I want to have something every day in this sense. So it's supposed to start, I believe, early December. I just signed up for it yesterday. We're getting it rolled out. Just planting the seed for everybody. If you want, I'll do a lot of Notre Dame coverage. Obviously, I followed Notre Dame my whole life, but it'll be everybody. And all the rankings and stuff in particular with film reviews, they'll definitely be on there. So it's a lot of fun. Coleman, thank you very much, bud. Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to have a show like this because I can mix it up. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, sir. And I look forward to doing a whole bunch more. But thank you to everybody that showed up today. We're going to have a lot more of these. Now that I've got a bunch of sophomore and junior film, I can put up and do live shows, do them all the time. I'll just do recruits. Just talk about it. They won't be as long. I did like Notre Dame's visit list. I didn't even do half of them, I think, today on the video, but it's a tremendous list of players that they have coming in. So Notre Dame has a chance to really make a big move this weekend. We'll see what happens. But thank you once again. We will see you all again very, very soon here on the Portal Podcast, and probably do another one. I think next week would be Monday or Tuesday, based on if anybody commits, etc. It could be earlier, but we'll see you again soon here on the Portal Podcast.